Let's go. And this is the Underground World News Live. Good evening here on this 5/13/2026. Get the mic check in 1 2. Much love, Leanne. Skeeby. Thank you for the super chat right out the gate there, brother. Kenny, thank you for sharing the stream. Hoodie Ross. And thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it to the fullest. All right, and Steely, thank you for the super chat right out the gate. Make sure that I'm going to get a refresh here on everything. Make sure we got everything lined up good. All right. Jay from the Ville. John Boy, Bone Score. Who cares? Katie. Kenzo, good to see everybody out there. Tom. Yeah, I hope all is well. We got plenty to go over as always here. And a few things I'm going to dive into, spend a little bit more time on here tonight. You can see we got Operation Sledgehammer. I'll dive into that. Some ancient knowledge under the Sphinx. I dropped a video on that. Going to expand on that and dive into the article of 60 Days to Famine. Everything going on with the supply chain and more. So, Callie, thank you. Much love. Again, good evening. If you got anything you want to get to me, dabu7 at yahoo.com is the email. Tag me like Callie did there in the chat. Much love to everybody on all platforms. I see Restream is actually kicking out some stuff from Facebook. So Facebook, Rumble, we're live, those places. Much love to everybody over there. So I'm gonna start off here with, I always start off with space, a little bit of an update, but this one right here goes along with what I was saying before about how they're trying everything that they can to get these data centers into certain places. There's a lot of buckback in all types of areas, and rightfully so. If you missed the story that I covered out of Georgia, we have one going in 20 miles south of Atlanta, and this is like a monster campus. It's already huge. You're going to take another 3 to 5 years to complete, and they've been caught stealing water, 30 some million gallons. It's like $150,000 worth, and it comes down to a bunch of big pipelines that got tied into the data center. Would you know that it wasn't even in the company's name, which is insane crazy. There's no way at that level, industrial level, the job itself, that the county had no idea that water was going into these big pipes going to that data center. There's absolutely no way. So the water pressure dropped in the neighborhoods, and people got pissed, and they were like, dude, what is going on? And they're in a drought. Like, we're all in a massive drought right now. Weather warfare 101, but it's a massive drought that we're under right now. And they noticed that this data center, even though the parking lots are like empty and everything right now, and they're still building it, the areas around the parking lot where you have shrubs and greenery and grass, usually they have water, these little water things that pop up and start to water the lawn. And people are like, are you kidding me? Like, they're freaking watering the lawn. And they watched it, and it went on for 4 days. 4 days of nonstop watering the lawn under a drought when everyone else is under an emergency order and their pressure has dropped. So the investigation found out that these two big pipelines were put in for the data center. One, not even under their name, and the other, like, they acted like they didn't even know about. They acted like it was fraudulently put in. They were only supposed to put in one, they put in two. So you just imagine. That's just getting going there. 30 million. Wow. So they came up with an idea. They were going to start to put little data centers inside of new homes. And it was going to like sit outside next to, I don't know, the house somewhere. And basically it would set off to the side of the house, almost like an outdoor backup generator or something would. But it would be doing all this processing. And they try to tie this into these house packages that they're selling. And like, people are like, screw you. Like, we don't want nothing to do with that. Like, so they take the idea to space. Now, I don't know where they're going to get any water to cool anything off up there, because they say that all these things run so hot, you have to have water to cool it. That's why there's a massive amount of water consumption. That goes out the window in space. They would be taking in straight up solar power, yeah, constantly, but there would be no cooling process like that, and it would be different. So they're talking about going to space because small town resistance is growing. And wonder why? The story I just told you about. People are ticked off. The big ones going up there in Utah. There's other planned ones going up all over the place. people reach out to me and they're like, look, resources running low. Send this prayer. I send prayers to all you guys out there that need them. Straight up. People worried right now about a lot of things: the crops, livestock, water, the whole nine. We got a compounding thing going on here, a multifaceted event. It's not looking really good, to be honest. Colleen, people are not listening about the oil crisis. They are calling me a liar or the drought. Well, you know, sleep people tend to do that. Um, some of the things are undeniable. I'm gonna dive into numbers. Okay, tonight that's what the whole 60-day to famine thing is here. We're gonna dive into the numbers actually. People talk about this and that. Well, we're gonna talk about something. We're gonna back it up here with some numbers, some evidence, some reports, some data that's been ran. You'll see here in a second through and through. So, the resistance is growing against the data centers because people see the destruction that it's already bringing. It's not bringing anything good, so to speak, for anyone. What is surging is the demand for energy. This is not going to stop. This is like going to be an ongoing thing. Obviously, you wonder why Trump went down and he snatched up Venezuela. You wonder why he pointed at Greenland. It was all about energy and having resources, especially in backup resources, especially going into a war. In the place that he's going to war with, Iran is all about energy. The whole thing, the Hormuz, it's all about energy, or the lack of at this point. So the global coal demand is picked up. I'm going to tell you that this should be right here a boom for Americans, period, especially with Trump in there because he jumped out of the WHO, he jumped out of a lot of the climate crap, and he said that he was going to change things in terms of coal and that Americans could prosper in this department, but that has not happened. The government continues to sell their coal to places like China, which is one of the biggest buyers out there. But this is a chance for the American people to really prosper. If you open up coal country right now where there's massive demand, and I mean, what does it matter? You're over here trying to tell us, oh, you got to watch your carbon footprint and all this crap. When China's over there just billowing and billowing and billowing, burning up coal left and right. And it's like, hold on. Like, this is part of a big scam still. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. He said they tried to put one in the center of my small town. We voted it out. The company canceled before the results are finished and they left. Oh, I wonder what area that was. But thank you very much for that. Love to get those updates and information. But again, coal, just down here on these back roads throughout Appalachia, there are many places that are just old coal mines. And not even old ones. There's some that are fairly new, like the machinery looks like it's new. It could just be going right now. And if they fired all that back up, you would see life come back into these areas. It brings jobs, whether it's working in the coal mines, working the equipment on the top, or whether it's running the trucks. Then the gas stations start to pop back up on these back roads, and then there's opportunity, there's life. Versus it rotting away, which is what a lot of Appalachia's done because of this. They crippled it. And you know what I mean? If you live out there, it's beautiful. Call it God's country, this and that. No. America's full of some beautiful places. We'll give it that. Appalachia, definitely one of them. From the Smoky Mountains on up. Beautiful spots out there. And a lot of God-given resource. You're talking coal, timber. There's some blue line waterways, natural gas, huge deposits of that. This is what I'm seeing BlackRock and other companies doing. That's what they've been doing. They've been kind of going through and selectively doing things like that. finding property that they think has assets on it, and then it's a no-brainer, right? They're here. Let me show you this. People are wondering about this. Goes with what I'm saying right here. People are wondering about the helicopter thing in Kentucky. Someone was saying, well, here, this goes right with it because it may. If you don't know, I dropped a video, the very last video on this channel, and it is showing a helicopter over these people's property in Kentucky, farmers, and it's on the top of their property. They've got a field up there, flat, and this helicopter was caught, and they're up there flipping out, like what in the world's going on? And you could see they've got a line dropped. And then when they go to take off, they film the whole thing. You can see that they've got something is weighted at the bottom. And there's a ton of comment about this. It looks almost like a box or this and that, but the comment section exploding with people saying it could be ticks being dropped off, this and that. Some have said, well, that they go look to see if they drop anything. From what I could tell, they looked at the area from the comments that I've seen. It was not trimming any trees. We know that they were doing something like dropping something, is what they suspect. They don't know what, or is a device that was scanning. Now, here's another thing. In the comment section of the original post, which I leave in the description, as always, you will see guys that do this for a living, that fly the helicopters. They're right there on it, and they're chiming in. And because people was like, all right, that could be, they're using that to like map the area. Some of the guys say the equipment looks too small to be that, although it could be something of that degree. But the guys that actually do that, seeing the video, the fly the helicopters, run that equipment, were like, nah, that's not what the equipment looks like that we run. But they agreed that it could still be some kind of device. I mean, it's something. It's something. And these people sat there filming it like, what the? Like screaming. Like the guy in the chopper, you can see his head right here. He sees them. He knows they're down there. And he eventually pulls up and takes off out of there. But he doesn't wind up his, whatever he's like. It'd have been kind of critical if you guys are in this situation, try to chase the chopper as far as you can, see where it goes. If it's not going to pull this up, it's got to drop it somewhere. He's got to go higher and make sure that this isn't going to hit anything. We got to find out what's going on. All these weird things going on. This was private property. Okay. And, look, man, I know what they're talking about. I haven't seen this on my property, or you would have already seen me flipping out, going off just like they are. But I have choppers flying over all the time. You guys know this. I've put the video out. They've flown over right here during the live stream multiple times, like right over the house, rumbling it out in the middle of nowhere, like specifically doing it, with not the greatest intention, you ask me, but so close that I say it should be illegal. And it's that time of year around here for me. Call them weed choppers or whatever you want to call them. I don't see why weed choppers would be out. Whatever. This time of year, usually later in the year, but people are going to be like, oh, they're scouting out where they're putting them and all this other crap and blah, blah, blah. But it seems like a lot of wasted fuel, but maybe not. They seem to gather a ton out of these mountains, and only so much gets burnt for the cameras. And it seems like there's a black market out there, or they wouldn't be doing it, especially with fuel so high. Come on, but yet they continue to fly. I see them a few times a week already. It's bad, and it'll stay like that all summer long. Blackhawks, as I said before in the last stream, these guys out here in these mountains have been known for shooting at these helicopters, and they've actually downed them. I've heard the stories. And then they send them back out with Apaches, with gunners, not Apaches, Blackhawks, over the area. But it's a crazy game in Appalachia, man. And just remember, the mountains, they offer something different than flat plains. Like, you gotta go over top of every little nook and cranny to see down in them, or you miss them. So that's not just for people out there growing crops. That's for survival. Period. We go ahead and take a scroll down the feed here over on X. Since we're over here, wheat prices exploded yesterday. Did you guys see this? I mean, look at this. I'm telling you, there's going to become a point to where the price rises so high, but then it's just not going to be found. Call it empty shelves. Call it like it's just going to be gone. When you see it spike this much, it shows you something's up. And what happens is the USDA just came out and forecasted and said 8 million acres of hard red wheat will be abandoned or no good. That's 37% of the planted acreage reported in the March planting report. That's done for. Dude, at this rate, everything's smoked. I'm telling you, it's a setup. Here is, and shout outs to Off Grid Reproductions. They took the breakdown here off a video that I did, and they did a projection using Grok just up to July 4th at current rates. That's not counting any little spike or increase, which is normally what happens anyway. There'll be big ones like we just saw in wheat. But we will, by July 4th, at least be at $6.83 per gallon. That's staying steady at the rising rate where we're at now. That's with no huge spikes factored in. Okay, and he's got the whole graph right there, walking it through it. Diesel remains more steady. But here's the thing. I can't stress it enough. There's no more boats coming in from Hormuz. Okay. Yes, we get a small amount of oil from there, but a lot of things have changed here. Like California shutting down the production and not replacing it with the adequate amount. Like, this is a big series of, I feel, staged things that's leading to this. I put a video out on 8 weeks to empty shelves. Well, that's actually the name of the article that goes with 60 days to famine, which I'm going to cover here in just a bit. It goes over the numbers strategically. Okay. It says and shows we will run out of usable oil by the 4th of July at this rate. And people are like, oh, well, we only get so much from there. Well, like, you're not understanding what's going on. Like, other areas are dried up and we are dipping into reserves. People live in a alternate universe in what they think. They get hung up on one thing, and they don't stop to see the bigger picture. But we're going to look at it. You could see by the image right there from May 7th, the drought is all across the freaking country, minus a few small spots in the upper Midwest. Down south from Florida to Texas, all the way into all across the West. People feeling this. Manufactured, if you ask me. And can you believe that is Gaza in 2023 up here? And look at it freaking decimated in 2026. If anybody cares. You see these 3 buildings right here, the black in the front of them? You can still make out a bit of the black right there in the front of them. Right there in that tall, skinny building. It's right there. You can see it kind of standing right there. It looks like a skeleton. This is what Israel and the Mossad do to places. If anyone cares. Amazing LiDAR shows what's really going on in the Amazon. You just wait. You imagine, look at that. Look at all the building and structure. Look at that all through the Amazon. You're going to tell me there's some amazing stuff yet to be found out there? Oh, yeah, there is. And the Amazon is one of the few places out there right now that's not in the middle of a war-torn area when you come to think of it. Also, at the moment. but it is the Amazon, the jungle. And but look, man, to roll up on ancient ruins is something in itself. We see here. Oh, we're going to talk about this here in the end. The Hall of Records. I want to show this image though before we get there of the chambers beneath it, and that there is indeed a chamber inside the Sphinx. They know this, a cavity above ground, and of course multiple chambers underneath. So they've come out with some new information. We're going to talk about that. And according to Ross Colhart, the insiders who shared information with him reported that there's a classified UAP video on SpearNet on their servers. And I think they're going to really, it's good. That's why they're talking about it. Just like this. This is AI, obviously here. But they're saying it's just like this, where a B-52 bomber has a close-up approach of a disc, and the creature inside of it is sitting there looking at him from the inside. And this is all on video. Okay? So you talk about the drops are about to get juicy. The drops are about to get juicy. Okay? And it's time to start paying attention, because they're going to start showing these entities. Okay? The fallen, left and right. And they keep telling us that we're the bad guys because we keep shooting them down. We're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. I don't think so. Sure. The guys, well, this sucks. We're in a bit of a predicament because our representatives, human representatives of our government military, they are bad. They are doing bad things. We know this. We have a responsibility. And now these guys are coming down saying, oh, you guys are bad. Okay, they're going to try to force our governments of the world, like, give up nukes and all this other crap, false peace. But, like, that's them and that's nukes. Like, you think I'm giving up my guns? They're like, what are your guns going to do? What are your guns going to do to their weapons? They know that you have them. They know where you have them. How many? And they're going to make it to where they're going to say it's going to be pointless for you to try. It's going to be futile to try to hide anything, your gold, your silver, any of your metals, any of your guns, any of your bullets, because they can see all metal easily with their technology down like 100 feet underground. So they can do is blast it right there in your house, right around the house somewhere on your property, whatever, and they're going to see everything. This is the crazy effed up part about it. You better have a place in a mountain buried deep to hide this stuff, or they're going to see it. Technologically, they're going to see it. Okay, or find a way technologically to fight back, like put it in a lead box or something that they're not going to pick up. You have to do your research if you care, but we're getting there. What if I should play? There's more clips on the UFO stuff over here. I'm not going to play this full clip, but I don't trust none of these politicians. I see the comments over here. All guys are saying it's like Annalena, Luna, Paulina, whatever her name is. She's so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, dude, you idiots. Idiots, man. Number one rule, man, you don't fall in love, especially with these politicians. And they throw that out there and you take that bait. Then you're just going to take anything that they're spewing. Oh, I like her because you're freaking in love with her, whatever your stupid fantasy is. Like, that's ridiculous. Half these goons probably lizards. Better check yourself. But I don't trust none of these politicians, and they are pushing the agenda. They're the breadcrumbs with it, so it's bird shit. They're breadcrumbing it. If he's some hero, any kind of heroes that just come out and they drop the goods. I will say this though, like, we're getting drops. So as long as they're doing drops, you kind of got to just sit back and just wait and see how they're gonna release this here. That it seems like it's in motion. Maybe not the way people are expecting. I'm waiting for this movie, Spielberg movie. It's gonna say a lot. And if you don't know, Trump wants to take $1.2 trillion of our taxpayer money for a golden dome. Now, those numbers might just go over people's head. but that is 1.2 trillion with a T. Over a 20-year period, they're going to be siphoning off your tax money for our Golden Dome. Oh my God. No way. No way. No way. No way. Oh, no way. If they EMP us, he will get every dime and every penny for the system. Because it'd be the only way to stop it, they'll say. And look, I'm gonna say this: even if they start building it and they shoot something down with the Golden Dome, here's the thing: it will cause an EMP effect. They know this. Are they setting the stage for that? Maybe. He's been talking about this for some time. Just look at the dome over America there. You can even see missiles dropping in, and they're going to deflect off this dome. Well, it don't work like that. What they're talking about is sending missiles up to shoot them down. A whole series and array of technology of lasers and hypersonic missiles that will shoot down anything coming in. Here's the problem. They can't stop the enemy's hypersonics on the front lines right now. Oh no, they can't. Whole reason this whole thing stopped is because Israel was getting mollywopped. Oh yes, they was. Hypersonics were slipping right on through from Iran. Up a couple, and these are the first. They're launching just like the petty stuff. They've got well over 70% of their stockpile still. Iran does. They've got drones, missiles. They've got the baddest of the baddest still sitting on the shelf. So if their weak ones are getting through the Iron Dome in Israel, this Golden Dome ain't doing nothing. I'm telling you, if you can't stop a hypersonic and you can't demonstrate that, which they failed to do here, you're sitting duck. This is why I believe everything stopped. Again, Israel was getting hit hard in Tel Aviv. Our Patriot missile systems are said to be the top of the line defensive measure. The Patriot defensive batteries. They're used in Ukraine. They even took them out of Ukraine and were sending them to Israel. Doesn't matter. They were getting pounded. And just surpassed. They can't stop the hypersonics. So now, if you missed it also, the U.S. said they're rolling out their first experimental type of hypersonic missile. But it's not tested yet. So they're saying they're rolling out an untested hypersonic missile onto the battlefield. Yeah. You believe that? New photos reveal that Brock Pierce cut the ribbon for Trump's golden statue. Yeah, Trump unveiled a golden statue of himself at Mar-a-Lago. And who's Brock Pierce? Oh, close friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Yep. So, it's shenanigans. The Japanese government preparing their people. This is how you know global disclosure is really happening and going down here. They admit that they possess UAP data, including video footage, and they say public disclosure will begin within the limits of national security restrictions. Huh. Sounds like somebody came out of a meeting. All the governments of the world have been told. This is what's about to go down. So, dude, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Okay? It's not the big one, like Trump coming out giving the big speech. That's coming in the offing, I feel. But when we talk about the refineries getting hit, they're getting hit big time. I dropped a video on this. You've got them all over the place. Australia, Russia, multiple hits inside of Mexico. Different refineries, different fires, different times, big explosions. No one knows exactly what's going on. Then you have Port Arthur in Texas hit. Then you have New Orleans, Louisiana hit. Then you have Tulsa, Oklahoma hit. Dude, get out of here. I just seen another article earlier. Oh, was it Japan or somewhere else? They had a refinery hit. Like, dude, nah, no way. Look, these are targeted attacks, man. We're in war. But it's not the war people are thinking. This is like the powers that be doing this. Because they're tightening the noose on the people. People are like, how'd this happen? How'd this happen? I thought we only got 5% of oil out of Hormuz. Well, you didn't pay attention to the rest of the picture. That places are getting blown up to process all this left and right. And you're just not paying attention. Like, it's going down, man. That's why I tell you, this is going to skip $6, $7, $8 a gallon at some point here, like some range. It's going to be nowhere to be found. You know, you just wait till they attack the ports. The Chinese can do it at any time. When you can't get nothing off the ports, you're done. And they can simply do it. The Chinese made the cranes at the ports. They have control of them. Our government knows that they caught them, but they can do nothing about it because no one else makes the cranes. It's ridiculous when you're buying stuff off your enemy. This is the position you put yourself in. So, MAGA melting down after buyers get an email confirming they will never get their Trump funds or even get their deposits back. And you put this on the list of MAGA scams right here. Like, these dudes should be sued up and down the block and back. Edward, thank you for the coffee. I appreciate that to the fullest. Counting the day, thank you for the coffees. Whoever's trying to hack me off. You think you're slick. MAGA, though, there's not much of it left. And these guys did the whole Trump thing, the Melania thing, and then they did the golden shoes. Remember that? And then they did the phone. And this was an estimated 590,000 people reportedly paid $100 deposit each. That's $59 million collected. And they're just going to act like they never got it. That everyone can afford the $100 loss. They got pitched by the Trump boys and got scammed. Yeah. See what else we got lined up here. Well, I got all these stories and more over here on the X feed. I wanted to jump over here and touch on a few things that are over here. Trump also, they say, seriously considering making Venezuela the 51st state. He's bringing it up again. He's like talking serious about it, just like he was with Greenland. So, again, I got the stories on the data center. Hanta in Hebrew means lies or a scam. Okay. All this. And just more stuff over here you're going to find left and right, man. On my feed. So continue with the rest of these stories here and check the chat real quick. Much love, everybody out there. And a thank you to those that share the stream. Folks just pulling up. Good evening. And we're going to keep it pushing here with Goldman saying that the mortgage delinquencies are rising across the U.S., especially the South. New Orleans, the Deep South, hit hard, they're saying. So the first place to see people not able to pay the mortgage big time is coming from that region. Millions of students are defaulting on their borrowed loan, so to speak, from the government. And they're saying that most of them are 40 years old on average. So that's where we're at with this. And people are starting to default en masse because they don't have a job. Can't find a job. Jobs are vaporizing. It's a crazy economy out there and everything getting replaced. Um, let's go to the economics. You may not care much about this, but this is pretty important. The Senate confirms Kevin Warsh as the Fed chair. Instantly, when you hear those words, it's like boring, but this is very important. This guy was on the Epstein list, and this guy is in charge of rolling out the Mar-a-Lago Accord. Now that he's in there for months, all of you that have been watching, I've told you about this window. I told you, wait till we get to May. Go back. It's all on record. It's all on record. Warning you about this moment in time. That when this guy gets in there, we're on the clock. Wasn't worried until then because this guy specializes in rolling out the new framework for the Mar-a-Lago Accord and the framework for this country. Okay? There's going to be a reset happen. And when you know all these things, you know that, well, certain men were kind of tailor-made for that event. To me, it was obvious. Well, it was never going to happen until this man was in there. And I've told you this for months. Now, he's here. He's in. Okay? We're in a window now where anything can happen, where this financial event can happen at any time now. Okay? So I told you for months, it's going to come. We're in it now. Okay? Okay? We're in it. Just so everyone is clearly aware. So India more than doubles the gold and silver tariffs to defend the crash in rupee. What does that mean? That means that people there are buying gold and silver en masse and using it more so than the rupee because the rupee is weakening. And that's not good for India being a place that has more people than any place on the planet. But they do consume more gold and silver than most other countries because of their rituals and holidays and gifts and just all that. A lot of gold and stuff used in their ceremonies and everything going on in India. But they can also turn around and melt that down and barter with it. Easy. So that's good for them in that sense. Especially when people are willing to accept it. So it's all about where you're at. If you got a barter system where you want to barter, you really need to get with your neighbors, get with your people around you, because that's where the barter system really comes into play. Let's jump to the beef. Our herd is at like the lowest it's ever been. They're keeping these prices, I feel, kind of padded because if you've seen the true nature of it, it would be insane right now. I feel like the Trump administration's padding certain things, cattle, the gas prices, certain things, because look at them. They would be through the roof. It's like they're hitting, like something is artificially stopping them. That's usually the government. Okay. The hidden hand doing it. I know ranchers. I have them in my family. I know this whole process. I hear the warning signs. I see them clearly. And dude, it's done. It's like they've crippled this place. From the cattle ranchers to farmers to all this stuff. So the cattle ranchers, they're totally like, man, this is a setup. They feel like it's a setup. The people that I talk to, they're like, you can try to play the long game here the best you can, but when they start taking out your feed and things that you need like that, there's no way around it. And then when you're faced with things like drought and all that, it hurts not only the crops, but in the end, everything, even the cattle, in the end, with having, arid conditions, they don't have fields to graze. And, again, ranchers warn Trump's proposed beef tariff it's going to cause even more issues. So this dude's going to try to put a tariff on beef, which means if you try to get beef from another country, which I don't advise doing, what are you going to get? You see the rats run over the food in the streets of India? Is that what you're going to get? You don't know what you're getting. You're going to get some meat, mystery meat from some other country? Really? Well, that's what the Trump administration is about to open up the options for here because they dwindled our supply down to like nothing. But if you want that mystery meat, you're going to pay a higher percentage. You pay for the tariff. Most Americans still just catching on to this, that we're the ones paying for this tariff. By the time the next year or two is through, most people will realize this. They'll be really pissed off at Trump. The more people wake up to this, they're like, hold on, why are they not telling us this? I hear it all the time. I see it in all the videos. Everyone's like, why are they not telling us this? It's always the same question because these people got to cut a check. They got to cut a check to the mailman or whoever. And it's always the same question. Why are they not telling us this? Well, it's because everyone fell for a black magic trick throughout the mainstream. They just made everyone assume through their language that someone else was going to pay it. And they said it strongly in the sense to where, oh, tariffs are going to Canada, tariffs are going on Japan, tariffs are going on whoever. And everyone's just sitting around like, okay. And all the focus goes on the country that they name. It's going on Japan, it's going on Canada. And then they're done talking about it. And everyone's like, oh, okay. What's the big deal? They're going back to the business. They don't care. They don't realize that tariff that he talked about means that new, I don't know, surfboard that you just bought off of a shop in Japan now comes with a 30% tariff. And like you get the item delivered to your doorstep. It's at the doorstep. They're demanding the checks get cut. If you want your product, you got to pay an extra $60-$70. This is crazy. And this is where people are getting pissed. Never used to be like that, they're saying. We never had to used to have to pay this extra amount on top of everything. You're right. It's because Trump screwed you. This whole thing was to screw the American people. And you see, they sat there docile and stupid, like a deer in headlights for a minute. But it's only going to work for so long, or you're going to lose everything. You're going to have to get with it and wake up and realize the place is getting wrecked and get a plan together to survive, especially what's coming, because they're resetting this whole freaking place, America included. It's not going to be the same world on the other side of this event that's coming. The event that's coming, it's just going to hit. Either you were prepared for it or not. You tried to prepare or not. No one's ever going to be fully prepared with a bunker, $1 million bunker, all this crap, right? But you could be somewhat prepared, slightly prepared, have tried, have done something, is my point. The window is closing. Like when supplies get short, and you're like, oh crap, I need to get this. We need to hurry. Like it's getting bad. I guarantee you there's about to be like a mad rush, a panic moment when people see it. And everyone's going to try to order all these things. And it's not going to happen. You're not going to get it. You're just not going to get it. Number one, because like the mail's not running because of gas or this and that, or diesel truck's not running because of gas or whatever it is. I don't know, man. This is a bad setup. I've never seen such a bad setup. A combination of things in terms of like our crops, the outlook. I've never seen the farmers this hurt for not only a lack of goods, fertilizer and all these things, but conditions. Like no water. You would think this day and age with technology we got, we would be doing some beautiful things. Desalination plants out there with pipelines pumped in all over the place to where water's not a question. It's kind of embarrassing and a stupid thing. You got the technology, you live in a water world, and how is water ever going to be an issue? The only way that is because of control, greed, evil people, okay? And that is why we're screwed to begin with. Until you overthrow the evil people, nothing's ever going to change. They're running to hell and back, and they'll kill almost everyone in the process. They don't care. and replace you with AI in the mix. See, we've got replacements here now. So now they really want to off us. Wait till I get to the end of this. Wait till I get about the ancient knowledge under the Sphinx in Samaria. All right? You wait until the end of this. Because it gets crazy. It gets crazy here. A large chunk of humans, of us, have to be eliminated before a certain someone shows themselves. And it may sound wild and this and that, but I'm going to show you the goods. Okay? Let me keep it pushing here because I want to get to that stuff. I'm just going to blow through this stuff kind of quick here because I want to get to the heavier stuff. All this is important now. What's this? The IEA revises the 2026 forecast. The global oil supply will plunge below demand this year. So get ready. That's their forecast for everyone living under a rock saying, oh, we only get 5% out of the Straits of Hormuz. Now you're not paying attention to the rest. Again, refineries getting blown up. Other access points drying up. You just, I swear, some of these people, man. You're not paying attention to jet fuel. Maybe you're not paying attention to nothing, but jet fuel shortage deepens. It puts pressure on the global airlines. Trust me, I know. I've talked to people that just recently were looking at airline tickets and could not believe the prices they were looking at. And if they waited like even days or any amount of time longer, it's just going to continue to go up, up, up. So maybe you living in your little box out there don't see this. And that's directed at you. You know who you are. You know, we got issues everywhere. I know most of you see it. It's not going away, unfortunately. Rising jet fuel and ticket prices could disrupt summer air travel. So, yeah, prices going to be baked into ticket prices. Well, fuel prices, all that good stuff. The check-in baggage claims I've read will rise in certain places. They'll get you wherever they can get you. If they can get away with squeezing a dime out of you, they're going to do it. The U.S. unleashes another wave of crude from its strategic reserves as gas prices soar. So, gas prices are still rising. They did not go down with this move. Again, they'd be, oh, we only get so much living in a box. We are pulling off of our strategic reserves, for crying out loud. When this is depleted, you're screwed. We shouldn't be doing this. You only do this in absolute emergency. Again, it's strategic reserves. We're tearing through them. Look at this. 53 million barrels out of it. Look, some people are just going to get macked by this because they live in a fantasy. So let's jump to the goods of this, the numbers. 8 weeks to empty shelves, 60 days to famine. This is Mark A. Shryock that wrote this up, and what he's done, and I'm going to read through a little bit of this here and lay it out, what he's done here. He says, I called this timeline months ago, June and July 26. I said it when there was no data to support it. I said it when people thought that I was wrong, and I said it even when the AI systems that I work with told me I was getting ahead of the evidence. I said it because I could see the convergence coming through my training and systems analysis and becoming something deeper with the data that was showing up in the timeline right in front of me. Now the data is here and it confirms everything. I ran all this research across separate large language models, and I've cross-referenced every claim against the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the Energy Agency, the International Energy Agency, Bloomberg, Goldman, JP Morgan, Fortune, the AP, Reuters, CNN, all of them. I verified the expert assessments of the Carlyle Group, Rystad Energy, Shell, Chevron, EIA, and the EIA administrator himself. What I'm about to show you is not speculation. It's not opinion. It is the documented, sourced, verified trajectory of the global oil supply as it exists right now. And he put these numbers out on May 8th. So, here within this past week, he says, if you can hear me, your life depends on what you're reading in this article. And I'm not being dramatic. I'm not overstating this. I'm telling you that the data says the United States of America will run out of usable oil by July 4th, 2026. Europe is going to run out this month. The food system that feeds you that runs on diesel will run out first. So understand this. Act today, now, not tomorrow, today. On March 3rd, 2026, a Hong Kong flag tanker called the New Corolla docked at the port of Long Beach in California. It was carrying 2 million barrels of Iraqi crude oil that was loaded at the port of Basra on February 24th, 4 days before the U.S. and Israel started epic fury bombing on Iran, and they shut down the Straits of Hormuz. That tanker was the last one. The last oil shipment from the Middle East to reach America's shores. It arrived, it unloaded, and it is gone. The buffer that kept fuel flowing for 2 months on the ocean is gone. Exhausted. Nothing coming in. Brian Stock, the director of Chevron El Segundo refinery, one of the largest refineries on the West Coast, called it a significant milestone that I've not seen or faced in a 27-year career. His refinery normally receives 20% of its crude from the Arab Gulf. You hear that? For people caught up on, I thought we only got 5%. Okay. That supply is now zero. California imports roughly 60% of its crude oil. That's a huge amount because I told you the whole situation with the refineries and what they did there is not right. It's almost treasonous. Valero, all that. Roughly 20% came from the Middle East when it comes from those numbers, and that's all gone. For 2 months, we had this flow still coming in, but that illusion ended in Long Beach when the last boat pulled out. We're not in an area of a price crisis. We're entering a physical shortage. This is a point where fuel stops being available at any price because there's none left to sell. That's a setup. That's a setup. This whole thing's a setup. It goes on about what happened to the Strait. You should already know. I shouldn't have to go into the war details. We've covered it every day, constantly here. But what does tank bottoms mean? He says, when you hear the phrase that most Americans have never encountered, tank bottoms, this is going to be pushed in the media left and right. And that's when you know that it's on. When you start to hear tank bottoms being echoed again and again. He says you have to stop and understand what this means. Tank bottoms does not mean that tanks are low. It means the system stops working. Oil storage tanks require a minimum volume of liquid to maintain pressure that allows the pumps to function. Now, when the level drops below that threshold, the remaining oil becomes physically inaccessible to the pipeline system. It cannot be pumped out. It cannot be moved. The pumps fail. Like, these people are, we've got a rude awakening coming our way, and it's a setup. It's in motion right now. People want to scoff at it like, oh, you said the sky's falling, or this, that. Like, dude, never said that. They quit talking crap and making up lies. You can be afraid of your own shadow. And none of this is fear-mongering. These are facts. Anyone that uses the word fear-mongering is afraid of something. What are you afraid of? You scared bitch? I'm sick of it. And if you took offense to that, get out of here and don't come back. Sick of you. So you punks running your chops, never doing nothing, never fighting the good fight, just running them chops, negative energy. Everyone's sick of it. So just get out. You know who you are. And I see you in the chat. It's Banhammer time. You can talk all your crap on other channels in your chats, but you want to pop up here. We already got you scoped. We seen you the other day over in Dude's channel talking all the crap about me and all this and fearmonger, blah, blah, blah. We already know. We already know. Know what you're up to. So, again, mods. All right, so those are the numbers. The diesel runs out first, and then everything stops. Just remember that. It says it right here. Not all fuel is equal. Diesel runs out first, and when the diesel stops, America stops. So the U.S. distillate holds inventories of diesel and jet fuel combined. They are 11% below the 5-year average and the lowest level since 2005. In Michigan, diesel hits $6 per gallon. In the Great Lakes, it's above $6. California, it ranges from $6 to $8.90 a gallon. That's nuts. This is a huge gap. It's not a luxury fuel, it says here. It's the blood supply of the American economy. And when this dries up, we're screwed. So there's a big difference is what he's saying here. Is there's a difference between prices rising and it just not being there. Okay. California operates on what analysts call an energy island. It's disconnected from the domestic pipeline network and it relies almost entirely on seaborne crude imports because of the way it's always operated. And it's messed with that mechanism here recently on purpose. And I think it's all part of this crippling. This is all part of a design plan, obviously. The bad guys have planned all of this, and this is not good. When you know it's part of a plan, this isn't just some kind of gimmick or a hiccup or a coincidence. It's part of a plan. And this is coming from the same people that locked us down and that do crazy things with plans. So I would not ignore this. Okay? Again, the refinery out there, this Chevron El Segundo refinery, one of the largest on the West Coast, it's cut off from a significant portion of its supply with no pipeline alternative. For everyone just thinks, again, that it's all good. So California gas is already above $6 per gallon and climbing. The southeastern U.S. depends heavily on the Colonial Pipeline. Now imagine if something was to happen to one of these pipelines. I don't know. Bombed, hit, targeted in the mix of this. Are you kidding me? What would happen? It would be a disaster. Colonial Pipeline. That's the first thing I think of when I see that. Man, heads on a swivel. With all these refineries getting blown up, I'm telling you, it just seems like this is about to happen. You're going to say these things, it can happen tomorrow morning. And everyone will be like, oh, we were talking about it last night, blah, blah, it just happened. But, well, it's almost like some of these things are obvious that it's going to happen. The forced shutdown. Oh, I don't like these things, man. This is how the other side shows me. Dude, this isn't good. This ain't good. Just watch. More disaster is about to strike. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. So, on that note, where have all the men gone in this country? They're asking that. The Department of Labor keeps careful track of employment and demographics. The latest report on men in the labor force shows both a mysterious and deeply alarming trend that 7 million men have vanished. From age 25 to 54, the workforce participation in this country was prime aged men. That was 100% in the 1950s. And they're saying it dropped to like 89%. It dropped 11%. Like, well, I mean, things change. And like women in the workforce, I mean, they say that this number's shocking to them, though. And they show this chart. This is why I threw this on here, because the chart shows the hugest dip off. Look at this. Was when lockdowns. Huge bottom out 2020. Boom. And then, like, this reminds me of what you call a dead cat bounce in the chart world, where it bounced, but it's peeling back over already on the other side. So, not looking good there. All right. There is a 24/7 live feed up of a robot working, if you guys don't know, on YouTube right here. Whoa, whoa. Like, dude, I don't know. It pisses me off. This whole thing, because it's replacing us. That's the thing that bothers me the most here with it. But we'll play this little piece here on this that talks about it a little bit and where this is going.
And what is the price point difference?
And the price point of what they're trying to have these robots enter the home.
And what is the price point differentiation for the in-home robot versus commercial?
The in-home, like we're not selling right now to the home. We want to sell here, like in the near term, and we want to sell the robot like for like hundreds of dollars a month, and as like somewhere like a car lease, maybe like $400, $500, $600 a month.
How are you thinking of deploying them in homes? Like, do you have to see if people have enough room? Like in New York City, I can't imagine these little apartments.
They just like, it takes a dock. It's like 2 feet by 2 feet. You can plug it in a wall outlet. It'll go to its dock and charge, and then throughout the day, it'll just go off and do work, whatever you want it to do. Like for me, I wanted to do like the laundry probably almost every day, dishes every day, and tidy the house multiple times a day.
No way. Get out of here. Now, if you're the Kardashians out there shilling this stuff, yeah, you can afford it because you got the money. The beast is handing it to you left and right. But the average person, look at what they're doing. They're stooping all the way down to a level they have to take this technology that was all the other models were, they were talking like thousands of dollars. But yet they're gonna find a way to get it into the home for people that can afford it for like $400, $500, $600 a month. So they got to make it. People are gonna do this. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what to say, but that's what they're doing. You're gonna see more and more of this. Look at this. This is a wild story. I'm gonna get a refresh on this, and I'm gonna let this clip play. The guy up here in the small window he's telling a story. I'm gonna see if I can blow it up once I refresh it. A humanoid robot shows up on a Southwest flight. This is wild, and it prompts the ban of humanoid robots on flights. And I'm down for that because, again, these things get to self-detonate, do any of these other things. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, who made it? Israel make it? Israel make it. It's definitely self-detonating. Here we go.
Unusual, it has literally resulted in an immediate policy change by Southwest Airlines. What could this be? Well, that's because a business owner was accompanied by a humanoid robot. Our JD Miles with a story that you'll only see right here on CBS News Texas.
Everything was in place.
Stewie, we're going on a plane.
For Aaron Medizada to pull off something that he's pretty sure hasn't been done before.
What if we actually try to be compliant, follow all the rules, and have Stewie board a flight?
The owner of the robot studio was flying back to Dallas from Vegas over the weekend when he decided to bring his humanoid named Stewie along with him, rather than sending the 3.5-foot tall robot on a cargo transport plane.
You actually bought Stewie a ticket.
Yes, we bought him a ticket. The airlines have a type of ticket you can buy for a wedding dress or some piece of equipment.
All it took was a much smaller battery that would successfully pass through security so Stewie could strut through the gate on the way to a plane bound for Love Field.
I had the perfect window seat. Clouds like cotton candy, everyone snapping selfies with me.
Video of Stewie walking to his seat resulted in some strange reactions from fellow passengers, to say the least, including flight attendants.
Well, I don't know what to do with that.
I think people were shocked overall that this was even possible. Most people were very excited to see a robot flying. It provided so much entertainment, and it was great.
Stewie is one of several humanoids found at the Robot Studio in North Dallas that can be rented for conferences, parties, and other events. Stewie was powered down for most of the flight and arrived home thinking it would be the first of many.
Yeah, Stewie sat on the plane like a regular passenger.
But within 2 days, Southwest Airlines sent out a safety alert about a new policy on transporting robots, saying that Southwest Airlines no longer allows human-like or animal-like robots to be transported in the cabin or as checked baggage, regardless of size or purpose.
So are you surprised to see Southwest's reaction to this?
We think all robots should be allowed to fly provided they comply with the battery restrictions.
In a statement to CBS News Texas, Southwest says, to ensure compliance with our guidelines for traveling safely with lithium-ion batteries, Southwest clarified its baggage policy to include robotic devices.
It's not a battery policy because the battery we used is essentially a laptop battery.
Medizada hopes Southwest will reconsider and will eventually allow Stewie and other humanoids back on board.
It's a total conspiracy. I swear, they don't want us robots peeking at the clouds, seeing what's really up there. My dreams got clipped faster than a bad haircut.
Dude,
in Dallas,
what?
JD Miles.
Dude, this is crazy. I'm gonna tell you now, it's because people freaked out, right? Like, that's why I wouldn't want to be on a flight with that. I refuse to fly with one. It's essentially a laptop battery. I get that. Well, and I get it. I get it to a point that if you're an owner, you got one of these, like how do you transport it? There needs to be rules. There needs to be fairness. But in all reality, and there are electronics that are on flights anyway, to be fair about it. Anyone's cell phone can be blown up by the Mossad. We've seen this. So it doesn't matter where you're at, I guess, at this point. I guess I'm a little annoyed. Flights to begin with, but anything that someone else can like detonate, I don't know. I see the war side of this big time. But I mean, again, you got to be fair and balanced here. To me, it's a security issue, you know. Separate flight for the robots, please. Hey, man, like, this is the world we're in right now. So look at this next one. Japan farmers have been getting a lot of issues with bears and wolves or something. So they made a robot wolf or something to release on the property. AI again. Just scare away the other animals. It's enough. You could see right there, ran away at least one bear. Generally, the bears aren't going to mess with you too much, but I mean, if they're having issues, they're having issues. I mean, you just never know. We have a road rage incident here where a woman caught pepper spraying an Army veteran in the face. And I don't know. I wouldn't think that something like this would normally make the news, but I guess if they caught it on video.
Unprovoked pepper spray attack that happened in Vallejo, and the whole thing was caught on video. This is a photo of Joe Vallely, And you can see how bloodshot his eyes are in this picture. This photo was taken shortly after he says a woman pepper sprayed him in the face in an apparent case of road rage. Now, our crime reporter Henry Lee is live at the Vallejo Police Department tonight with this story. Henry?
Well, the victim's an Army veteran who never expected to be attacked this way as a civilian on the streets of Vallejo. A road rage attack caught on video. Cell phone footage shows a woman getting out of a Nissan Altima in Vallejo on Monday morning. Without warning, she pepper sprays the other driver, Joe Vallely, who's behind the wheel of his work truck.
Immediately felt the pepper spray. She was like 2 feet away and she got me directly in the eyeballs. It felt like someone was sandblasting my eyeballs with glass.
It happened at about 9:20 Monday morning on Wilson Avenue along Vallejo's waterfront.
There's speed bumps on the road, so you have to drive slow anyways.
In fact, just 3 weeks ago, the city installed these speed tables along the street because of complaints over leadfoots. The speed limit's usually 30 miles an hour, but it slows to 15 miles an hour for the speed tables. The woman behind him took offense to his pace along the one-lane street.
I noticed someone was tailgating me and flipping me off. And I'm driving the bucket truck slow because it's big and old and heavy.
Vallely works for a company that provides internet service for Vallejo city departments. He continued driving till the street widened to 2 lanes near Hitchborn Street, and that's when the woman drove around him.
She slammed on her brakes, forcing me to slam on my brakes. And there was cars behind me that almost hit me. I almost hit the lady.
And when she came out of her car, he says he began backing up and never engaged with her.
In the video, I said nothing. I wanted no confrontation. I wanted nothing to do with any interaction. I was just trying to avoid the situation.
Oh, he's even got a little band-aid under his eye.
He drove to a nearby liquor store and then got his eyes flushed at Kaiser.
Damn it, this hurts.
Vallely is a father of 2, an Army veteran with...
Oh, man. Look, man. I don't know. I just feel like he's being kind of over dramatic about this. I've been hit with a ton of chemicals. I've been blasted straight, just exactly as him, if not worse. I'm talking days and days of tasting the chemicals, like bad, to a point where I think it's probably what's wrong with me now. To be honest with you, chemical attacks from this government, but pepper spray, civilian pepper spray, is one thing. Civilian pepper spray is in a whole little lower level than damn near weapons grade products that the freaking government's using on us out there. And you have no clue what they're really using. Unless you were to grab it and test it, I'm going to tell you it ain't good. Come on. Anyhow, I some of these things I find comical. It's just I don't know. Felt like he's been kind of a baby, but this one here is an update to a serious event that took place. The shooting that we covered on the last stream, the guy that was out in the street just unloading on people. Well, there's his image. And I'm updating because they wouldn't give us no information on him. So, 46-year-old career criminal, they say here, that he was freed by a woke judge. He had been in a gunfight with police before and locked up. They say a woke judge let him loose. Politicizing it, right? But look, I'm not for this crap. I'm not for nutcases. Look, everyone makes a mistake. That's without a doubt. But people, it's got a long, lengthy, repeated rap sheet. It speaks for itself, especially when it's danger and it's doing crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, when you're someone's just going to kill or hurt innocent people, you can't let them out. What happens? This guy was just running around with automatic or semi-auto, whatever it was, just dumping on anyone around. It could have been prevented if you wouldn't let him loose. Kind of crazy, but let's jump into the hantavirus. The hantavirus cases rise. I know no one wants to hear this, but I'm briefly gonna touch on the facts of these things, and I honestly don't think that they can blow anything up, right? But I just don't know that certain things aren't going to work on the populace. It's just not. The whole fool me once, fool me twice type thing. Like, so is this kind of testing a reaction here with this run? Because it's something. This is part of it. This is definitely part of it. Don't get it twisted. Hanta right here is definitely part of this whole operation. It's either a slow roll of the next big one, or it's a feeler. Just kind of gauging the response here on the people, on headlines, on how they react when they see like Deborah Burke's back in the headlines and talk of people quarantining, and the algorithm's watching all this, and then they're getting fed all this information quickly. So they're seeing, I'm telling you, they're seeing that people are like, F you. People are like, we're not playing this game again. So what that tells me, and what tells them and anybody watching, is that like, okay, well, they're definitely going to be more resilient this time. They're going to buck back. They're going to fight and resist more. They're already showing that. The next question becomes, and it's a scary one, what makes them shut up? And I'm going to tell you it's dead bodies. I'm going to tell you it's the real one. You go and play this game, beta test for so long. The real, of course. It's the one thing it's going to set in panic on anyone everywhere, is when there's bodies dropping. For real. For real. And it's no game, no gimmick. That's the problem with all this is, with hantavirus, you're dealing with stuff that was never before spreading from human to human. That means one thing. Somebody took something into a lab and concocted it, went stupid, and made it spread human to human. Now all of a sudden, you've got all this, and they're saying it's got an 8-week incubation period. Let me tell you something, dude. Hanta is not like over and in the rear view until like it's over and in the rear view. Like, I'm talking, unfortunately, with that kind of a window, this thing can hang around throughout summer, in the weeks ahead, in the months ahead. It's crazy to think of. And just think about this. Can you imagine the people that were infected with this new whatever, that are all tainted to a degree because they all hugged the wife of a man that died, and then that lady died. So they're all tainted, man. They send them back to all these places where people might have tested positive even, but they're just monitoring them, right? We've been here before, right? But then other people showing no symptoms, they're allowed to just go about business with family and friends. So like say they're with friends and family now. Just watch this play out. Those friends and family go to school, go to work, come in contact with 150 other people, 1,000 other people. You see, and immediately this thing blows up. If it's an issue, it becomes something that they can panic. They can hit the panic button on real easy, real quick. Real easy, real quick. Dude, I don't trust these goons, man. At all. At all. So do I think Hanta's the one? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. All I know is I'm staying prepared for anything here. Personally, all the signs had always been with me to a bird flu strain, but it could be anything. There's things that's popped up that I didn't know about that I've shown here recently. like the things telegraphed, like in the X-Files of hantavirus, when you find things like that that have been telegraphed into the subliminal of the masses, those are the events. So when we find something like that, it raises eyebrows big time. Because that's how they have to do it. It's the rules to the game. They have to tell you. It's part of the black magic. It's how it works. So, yeah, those signs aren't the best, but what do they say here? Hantavirus cases rise. Officials say the risk to the public very, very low. Well, look, man, just telling you, it could be the same goons tied into any and all this stuff. You can see here the media spreads hantavirus hysteria in an attempt to save the disgraced WHO. Well, we're not a part of that. We pulled out of that. The hell with Tedros and all their goons. And this is Rand Paul saying that Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-ups were intentional, and that a CIA whistleblower testifies at Rand Paul's hearing on the government's long-running COVID concealment thing here. So I'm going to play a clip of him talking about this. You keep threatening about Fauci this, Fauci that. Like, again, like, I'm done with the talk. Go get him. That's how I feel.
She approved the research that went on in Wuhan, and that it might not be in his interest for the conclusion to be that it came from a lab that he had funded, that there might be a conflict. Did anybody ever bring up that he might not be an objective witness?
This is one example of an email. No one laid it out quite that clearly. You're piecing it together. We were piecing it together from multiple emails, from multiple agencies, multiple documents. It was more subtle than that. Nobody said this is happening, and unfortunately, I think they probably should have. It was all out there.
But your conclusion is that changing from the scientific consensus of it being from a lab to a neutral position by the CIA was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci?
It was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci's injecting himself into the IC. And to go to the second part of your question about what happened, particularly during the 90-day study, we have documentation that shows that as of August 12th, the CIA was considering calling this a lab leak, August 12th of 2021. And then that changed on August 17th of 2021. Right. And unfortunately, because the CIA would not provide us documentation that we asked for, we have no idea why that changed. And that's...
And they weren't alone, because we know the FBI was coming to the same conclusion that it was lab leak, as well as the FBI. Senator Ernst?
So, man, arrest this fool. I know he got a pardon from Biden, Fauci did or whatever, but they already come out and said the auto pen scandal was used there and all that's null and void. Like, arrest that man. He's, like, who's going to go down? If he doesn't go down, no one goes down. And what's crazy is, like, we're going to sit here and watch a puppet show until the next event goes down. If the next event goes down, guess what? Guess what happens? All these people are paraded right back out in front of you. And they will be hailed as kings like last time, as saviors in the media, and protected their every word. If anything that you say against them will be labeled medical disinfo or this and that, right? It's all going to be that way with the big one. It's just going to be. They showed us if the beta test was like that, then you can guarantee the real one. Here's the problem. The real one, there's going to be dead bodies. There's going to be a lot of people dropping. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's the scariest part about it, man. That's what all these warnings and all these years of getting ready was for. There's no other way around it when that happens. You can't, there's not going to be people like, well, then, boo, screw you. Like, I have to get the jab for me and my family to survive. Hey, yo, you screw me, huh? Like, I was only looking out for you in your best interest, but all good. Have fun with the beast and living on its system, because the rest of us, we're staying riders, true blood, for real. By the end of the show, listen to me. Listen to me. Hang in there. I'm going to get my way to this end. There's something very important that you need to hear tonight. I don't normally ever say that, but like, you need to hear it. I got it burning inside me, and you all need to hear it. It has to do with what's been hidden and kept secret, but it's not going to be. For those that don't know, it's going to bring some things here full circle. It has to do with your being, and specifically staying like pure, and I don't know, pure blood. The blood was the whole key point in all this, and you're going to see. And those of you that have maintained this, it's more special than you realize. Remember, the beta test was the beta test. Okay? It wasn't Mark yet. It wasn't all that's coming yet. The day that you see, if you live to see, the Bill Gates Luciferus patented 666 used on the masses, you know it's the rollout. You'll know when the bodies are dropping. That's it. To me, you really can't do it with anything over, though, a kill rate of what Hanta's pushing here, because you risk it getting way out of control. It's just too much on the risk scale. If you're actually going to push one out that's dropping bodies, it better be in this low scale range. And this is actually the high end of the low scale range. So they must be pretty confident here. But you know how 28 days later go and all the movies go. One little screw up. And but I'm going to show you something huge by the end of this that brings it full circle. Apparently, there's going to be a mass sacrifice of us. And the sacrifice means something different. You're going to see. It's going to be multifaceted. And you're going to see why all this is happening and why it's going to happen. Okay? And you need to see it and know it. A Chinese national indicted in Florida for importing a deadly new opioid. So just, you got a new one out there. It's coming from China again. I just want to point it out because we got the fentanyl problem. It's killed more people than I know in this lifetime. RIP to all of them. None of them were looking for death. I know people that were given pills thinking they were taking it for a headache and have lost their lives. People just out there have handled this stuff. That's fentanyl, not even this stuff. I don't even, like, this is way more potent. The synthetic drugs in the game out there, it ain't to be messed with. It's not to be messed with. It's just not, man. It's more designed to kill our generation of brothers and sisters than anything. That's what I see. It's a weapon. It's a weapon, is what it is. You know, people were back in the day taking Quaaludes. People, you know, doing their cocaine. People doing this and that. But I'll tell you what, back in the day, they were not dropping like they were until, in my experience, the whole fentanyl game. And I'll take it a step further. Where I first started seeing cats out there in the game, at work and other places, OD, was on OCs, Oxycontins, crap like that. Synthetic heroin is what that is. You see, to that degree. And, you know, cats then, like, they didn't have to be a heroin junkie with no needles or this and that. They could be just undercover, like, with taking a half freaking OC and this and that, and like be out of it. And that's where I seen this all begin in my experience. And then some of this, it was like those same circles of people, it seemed, were susceptible to perks, Vikes. And they are the ones that got a pill pressed with fentanyl and took it thinking they were taking a perk or a Vike. and he killed him. That's murder. That's murder. And that's what's happened to most of the people. And that's why I tell you it's a weapon. And it's been used as such. Okay, so it pisses me off. RIP all the cats out there. So many taken down. But the enemy works in many ways. Some of these I'm skipping through just because I just want to show you this one because of Trump's audacity. A quick clip here on Trump. He's talking to reporters. I just want you to show. It's like if the cameras weren't rolling and like he had this person in front of them in like a hidden chamber, like I felt like he would have snatched this person up. He'd come in like he was gonna wring their neck and like cause them just a stupid or a dumb person, but he got really pissed off.
So what happened is I have a ballroom that's under budget. It's going up right here. I've doubled the size of it because we obviously need that. And we're right now on budget, under budget, and ahead of schedule. I doubled the size of it, you dumb person. Double the size. You are not a smart person. Right over here. Wait a minute. Right over here.
He leaned into her like, man, you're not a smart person, you dumb person. Like, I will say sometimes I'm surprised he bites his tongue. He doesn't drop as many F-bombs. He's done it before, but here's Vance making a major announcement on California's medical fraud. Now, something I've warned about in the past that I see happening is with this left-right paradigm, the states are attacking each other. You know, left and right, blah, blah, blah. It's all politicized, but this is one form of stripping funding from blue states especially. Now, if Newsom or AOC or whoever gets in there next, and it's a Dem, they could do the same thing in the red states. That's the dangerous part here, is people sit back and watch Trump doing all this and doing it to potential just blue states. You're like, oh, I'm in a red state, I'm safe. Well, like, you're not safe as soon as the tables turn. Haven't you learned that? That's how this whole left-right paradigm works. And
first, we're announcing that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements from the state of California. And the simple reason is because the state of California has not taken fraud very seriously.
So there you go. That's a huge chunk of money they're just not going to get. And I want to play this clip because this points out where I think things may be going, especially with the Republican ticket. And I can't tell you what would happen here. I'm going to be honest with you. They're both establishment stooges. Okay. But I'm talking about Marco Rubio and I'm talking about JD Vance. These two have said to like bumped heads, but then also people say they actually get along behind the scenes. It's kind of obvious they're neck and neck, the leaders here, on who's going to run for presidency out of the GOP. Who's going to be the main man? It's going to be one of these two men. They're polling at the highest level. They've got the biggest base. It would definitely be one of these two men. One of these two men will fill that, and potentially the other one will fulfill vice. The thinking's been that JD Vance would run for president and that Marco Rubio would be a vice. But now that's kind of switching. And Trump gave this kind of away with what he says here in this right here.
And he's running and he's in second place.
JD
so we
Vance.
got a lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have? Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD. That was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details. That does not mean you have my endorsement under any circumstance. But, you know, there was a big and then a very nice I think it sounds like presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate. President of the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association.
He just put it out there. It's a perfect ticket. You don't think that Rubio will not take his moment, his chance to shine, and be president? I think he would in a heartbeat. And I think he would much rather be a president than a vice. And I think that, honestly, JD Vance is all I can ever think about him is the meme about him. It's so hilarious looking. I think he sucks, and just period. He's controlled by the black hats. They all are at this point. Rubio, all of them, they're all controlled by the black hats. So you're not going to get any kind of change there. Just be honest about it. But when you have to look at it like, okay, doesn't matter what we think, like all the masses, all the sheep are going to vote, and like you're going to vote somebody in. Which one are they going to like more? I think they're going to resonate more at this point in time with Marco Rubio, because I see a disconnection and I see attacks already waged against JD Vance, and I don't know. Either one could go. Really doesn't matter. Really does it? Does it? I mean, you'll see one more than the other then, but it's all the same puppet show. I'm sick of it. Like, we are not in this till we have a horse in the race. And that means you have to protect that horse. It has to be one of us. Can't be connected to them. Can't be lobbied and bought out. Part of no secret group or clique. It's got to be constantly protected and monitored by we the people, this person. That's not happening. It never happens. Until you do that, you're not going to have someone solid. You're going to have to protect them. Period. Or they're going to come under attack and threat by the man, by the enemy. No doubt. If you ever want real change, you have to have one of us running. It could be your daughter. It could be your nephew. It could be anyone out there. The true change coming, the youth. Just can't be from them, from the enemy. Right? Same old, same old. So they're projecting the Democrats are not in good shape for midterms. If you don't know, Mom Donnie buckled on his plan to tax property on the rich in New York because so many people were like, screw you. So it does make a difference when you voice your opinion to these politicians and you say something and you say it loud enough. They abandon their plan there. They are saying that we have biolabs set up across the world. There's 120 biolaboratories in 30 countries. They're now saying, what timing, and that they're probing this. Like, Tulsi Gabbard after probing them. Well, really? What are you going to do? You're going to find. It's all manufactured garbage, man. Chinese are embedded among us, and it's getting worse and worse. A Maryland GOP lawmakers sound the alarm because a Chinese-born delegate has been busted. They've indicted, like, I don't know how many here recently. Left and right, like a bunch. They're catching the Chinese left and right in this country, like trying to steal and sell our stuff. It's bad. You've got former CIA Director Brennan saying that there's still legions of anti-Trump people inside of all these alphabet gangs. It's all deep state anyway, man. Like, I don't doubt it, but yeah, he says that. Yeah, here, I ain't playing the clip. Let's go to Ireland. Ireland convicts a 78-year-old preacher for preaching near an abortion clinic. So, freedoms of speech, freedom's collapsing. And that's Ireland. I'm always reporting on the tyrannical stuff coming out of Europe, but it's nonstop these days. Trump shows up in China. That's where he's at or said to have been today. They roll out the red carpet, as you can see here. Here he is, stepping out and waving, playing their stupid music. You got all these kids. They can't even just freely wave the flag. They got to wave it in a certain way. Look at them. It's like even when they drop the flag, it's still moving back and forth. So Trump meets Xi Jinping, the Chinese. Ukraine makes a comment to Israel and says, we're fighting the same axis of evil. Pretty obvious. You guys are backed by the same hand. I mean, all Ukraine's been backed and funded this whole time by the West, and we know this. So it's just now getting out like on the surface full scale. So the Ukraine is a war machine at this point, and the U.S. is going to take advantage of that. And they have launched a deal to make kamikaze drones. This isn't good because in the end, these are the same drones that would be used on Americans, on innocent people all over the planet. These are the drones that are killing guys on the front lines all day long. I'm sick of seeing it, to be honest. In Russia, in this whole war, like Vladimir Putin and them, they're just as satanic. Don't get it twisted. They've killed more of their men and let them die in this war than you even realize. Hordes of Russians have been slaughtered on the front lines. And it ties into the sacrifice that I'm telling you about. I'm going to get to here in just a second. You have Tucker Carlson calling out Zelensky. I'm not going to play the video, but he says he's on coke. And this lady kind of is like, well, yeah, but no, I can't confirm it. But yeah, but everyone could tell the dude's all jacked up all the time on something. In Russia, test the Satan II. It's going to enter combat next year. Satan II, along with the tsunami bomb, Poseidon tsunami bomb, that is designed to explode on the coastline and take out a city with a tsunami. Nuclear tsunami at that. It's a real weapon and really there. They've got it. It reminds me of folding up your money and seeing a wall of water coming in on a city. Yeah, just like you can fold it up and see two towers smoking. That's not a coincidence, man. That's ritual, sigil, done on purpose, masterfully. And two key events were given off in these bills, man. The towers, which has come and gone for 20-some freaking years ago at this point, and one that has yet to happen. We ain't seen no city get rocked here in America by a wall of water. So I always think of that. And, Russia, are they the bad guy or are they our best friend? Trump says that the Russia-Ukraine war is about to end very soon. You hear this? Are you hearing this? Like, it's a bluff, head fake. Is this going to hold up? It's like 5 years in this time around. And he's like trying to say this boldly. Russia think tank tells China media that the end game in Iran is about energy and an energy monopoly. I'm telling you, told you, it's all about this energy. And Iran has 5 specific demands right now. This should show you that none of this is going to go away. Everyone's like, oh, maybe they'll work out a deal tomorrow. No. These guys are not backing down, and they've got 5 demands. I'm going to tell you, America's not falling for none of them. None of one of them, they're not going to take none of them. First off, Iran saying you got to end the war on all fronts, including Lebanon. Dude, Israel's not going to do none of this. Lift all sanctions. It's not going to happen. Release frozen Iranian assets. Not going to happen. Compensation for the war damage, like reparations for losses. Not going to happen. Recognition of Iran's sovereign rights over the Straits of Hormuz. That'd be like the one talking point at the table for them, and that's just for talk. All the rest is, everything that has to do with nukes. That's the main thing. It pushes back against nuclear negotiations, period. But that's not what Israel says. Netanyahu insists the Iran war will continue until all the uranium is physically removed. You hear that? That means it's not over. They're going to bomb. There's something coming here. Okay? Trump says the ceasefire on life support. Garbage proposal from Iran. I'm not playing none of these clips. But here's why, though. Operation Sledgehammer. This is what's about to happen. They're about to drop the sledgehammer. Which is big, hard bombs. They're going to devastate infrastructure. Trump doesn't seem to care about no one or anything, much less, the people. He wants to save face in all this. But he's done said the next targets, the only thing really left is the energy infrastructure, water, all that. If he hits that, the people that have already been sitting there, this is day 75 since the U.S. launched the conflict. And the people have been sitting there without internet en masse. They've been trying to clean up and do all these things, but there's only certain targets left, and Trump said it. Iran claims, though, that 80% of the places that they hit have been restored. And what they're doing is every single time a bomb hits somewhere, they have teams going out and cleaning it up really quick, just like you see here.
City Hall cleaners and crews removing debris and clearing the streets within hours of every airstrike on residential neighborhoods in Tehran.
You see, there's a strategic process to you're not going to leave this place looking like Gaza. You're not going to leave this place looking like Lebanon. You're not going to leave this place looking. And we're going to get it cleaned up and patched up and better looking than it was before. We're going to do it quicker than you get Tel Aviv fixed. And see, that's the point they're trying to make here with all this. Like, you can't break us. And, that's the defiance of them here. So if you think that Hormuz is going away anytime soon, any moment, it's not. I would be absolutely shocked. Any progress. This thing is just like 2 weeks for the curve, flatten the curve. And it turns into months and years. Dude, it's the same thing. I said it over and over. So you've got Iranian operatives infiltrating into Kuwait, firefights ensuing, like crazy madness popping off. This ain't over. Like they're crossing the strait, and trying to infiltrate into other countries. In the meantime, Chinese super tankers, at least one, has squeezed through. So it shows that Iran's letting their buddies slide on through a tanker or two. But everyone else shut down. Okay. But the US is supposed to be the one with the blockade up, right? So it's like, how's the Chinese tanker going by then? Well, Trump just landed in China, of all places, right? Qatar tells everybody to shut off their transponders, to go dark in the area to try to avoid getting hit. Because everyone is going to be a target. The UAE, become to find out, carried out attacks on Iran. This now makes it an active combatant. Iran knows this too. Now, it's in the open. And not only that, Saudi Arabia secretly launched attacks on Iran at the height of epic fury. And now Iran knows it. They will be the first to get hit next, front and center. And they're drug into this front line. Yeah, so that's everything with the war front. All right. I want to get all that knocked out before we cross in here into the top of the hour. Yes, it is all like COVID 2.0. Energy lockdowns, all this stuff. It's where this is all at. It's where it's going. It's real deal. It's happening in slow motion. It's all happening. It's not getting better at all. How can it? The last ships have done transited and they're gone. And with this blockade up, supplies of anything and everything you can think of have been stopped dead in their tracks. Of everything. Absolutely everything. Everything that replenishes store shelves. Everything you can think of that comes to that strait. Way more than just oil. It's all stopped dead in its tracks. It's Trump doing it. Okay, don't never forget that. It's all by design. Okay, so yes, this is a great reset in motion. It's part of the process here. Thank you for joining us for the Underground World News Live here this evening. I'm going to dive into the final piece here of major information and the biggest piece, if you ask me. It's all important, but we talked about Operation Sledgehammer just a second ago. I already covered the 60 days to famine and all that, tied into the supply chain and where it's all going. If you guys are tuning in and missed that, make sure to go back and check that. A thank you to everyone that shares the stream as well, and everyone that supports the stream. Appreciate it more than you know. Diving into this part is among, my favorite topics here, because ancient history and the mystery and unraveling it, the truth, is like all we have left to do. You want to know the truth? What more can you do? Like what is left of life? You want to unlock the truth. You want to see past their lies. What really happened? Well, what is this place? Well, it's hidden underneath of our feet, obviously, buried. And if you go digging, you're going to find. And history's mysteries are the most intriguing to me because it unlocks just everything. You go and you find a giant, well, then you see it. You know it's real. You did it in your lifetime. It speaks for itself. There's nothing they can say or do to hide that. It becomes, we're at a point where you can only hide history so long because it's just hidden under dirt. And there's so much of it that once it starts to all become uncovered and seen, the whole story comes out and you can't hide it anymore. Okay? One thing that will blow everything out of the water is if you stumble upon the legendary Hall of Records, right? Well, the Hall of Records is something that's always said to have been hidden underneath the paw of the Sphinx. I believe it was Edgar Casey gave his own prophecy on that. And there was others as well that talked about hidden knowledge buried underneath the Sphinx. And years ago, the Egyptian government went on TV. I'm talking years and years ago. I was like way young. And they went on TV in front of the world and said they found the temple of Osiris. And it was in water that they had to pump out. And there was another shaft heading toward under the Sphinx. And they never, ever went back and showed us anything. I shared that image with you earlier. I shared an image earlier. It's on my X. That's why I showed it. It's on my X page. It shows the shafts that run underneath of it, the hidden cavities underneath the Sphinx here. But what's wild about this new information, well, let me add to this real quick. If you missed it, here this past year, they dropped the biggest knowledge we've ever heard about Egypt. That there's a mega structure underneath the pyramids that goes down some 2,000 freaking feet. Are you kidding me? Who built that? Like, dude, what is this thing? Well, we already know. It's energy. It's all about energy, man. All about energy. It all is. Either way it goes, period. And this is super old, going back to super ancient times. And this is beyond a time of our version of human, I'm going to tell you. It's from what I believe in all of it, even in who built the pyramids, because I look at the record of who was here during that timeline, who could have possibly built it and done it. Well, who was here in that timeline? And it wasn't just us. Okay? And it's more than just the Nephilim here, as we're going to get into. But a CIA document here was released that shows that in their own documentation, they have a line that says there's a temple under the Sphinx. Hall of Chambers, Hall of Records. This is where all this comes in here. And again, it mentions here Edgar Casey's prophecies, Hall of Records containing ancient knowledge and all that. So they're hinting that they're like telling you, again, it's there. Something's there, but the Egyptian government and the main governments of the world won't release the big stuff, the good stuff. I'm going to tell you that those records are, if it's true, a Hall of Records, then what it should do is it should match the accounts of other things like Dead Sea Scrolls and other records, the Book of Enoch, things like that. There should be other copies of it in there, in that account for sure. But an extended version is what's going to be the huge thing. An unedited, no shards or pieces missing, the whole story. Hall of Records you're talking, man. Hall of Records, man. The thing that I'm saying is they've already been in there. They've been in it. There's no, I wonder if there's a hall. Like, they know, and they've been in it. Okay? They know it's there, and they keep it a secret. Now, that pisses me off, because I would like to think that there's other stashes of Hall of Records around the world, because if I was to try to leave a message for the future, I would encase it in tree sap. If you're going to put it in the clay tablet form, encase it in something hard that can't be destroyed, but you still see through, read it, see it, and leave it at the intersection of ley lines. That's where I would go looking anyway. I guarantee you'll find something. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. The bigger the intersection, the higher the odds you're going to find. But this place was set up like, on an ancient battery type of system, as far as I can tell. The pyramids were energy conduits, major. There was water, a whole water system ran through here. And we know it. The channels flowed right up to where the pyramids are. Just like you would with like a reactor, a nuclear reactor, you would have constant water flow coming into these places. That's how they were running and operating. Now we know they go 2,000 freaking feet into the earth. So who could have built that? Okay. And here's where I'm about to drop big stuff right here. For all those that always hang in there. Because this is I save the best for last for a reason. Sumerian tablets in the King's List. This King's List explains who controlled and reigned in the power structure on this planet for thousands and thousands of years, all the way up to the flood and after. And it shows that there was a cutting down of lifespan, especially when you hit the flood. This is their account. Okay? Now listen, because this is where it gets wild, and this is the parts that are overlooked that stand out to me that are crazy. Okay? The Anunnaki. Enki, Enlil, the creators of these vessels that they call humans. They have a workforce called the Agigi or Agigi that revolted. So they decide to fasten and create a new workforce. Enter the first version, Adam. And they think that this creation at first is great. Good little slave. Here. But there's way more to it because these beings have to be animated by the source from the eternal Godhead. So you look at it in the aspect of they had to acquire this, or it's stolen. You're talking soul force, life force, energy, something that they can not create themselves. They can fasten the body in all this, but they cannot create that soul force as it said. So we are made, we multiply, and what happens? This is where the story gets, this is where it all gets crazy. And this is where it makes all the difference. This is what you need to understand. This is what you need to understand. You always hear the return of the gods are coming. They're going to come back, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. Even that the Anunnaki are set to return. Why'd they leave? Why'd they hop in their ship all of a sudden and frantically bail out of here? Anybody know? I'm about to tell you. 1010. This is the key. When they created mankind, and it flourished, and it grew, it did something that they did not expect. Their bodies are made of a different source, a different material, and they're from a higher frequency, okay, to begin with, of a higher frequency. And when they're in our atmosphere, they need high quantities already of gold. Is the story of it, is it's written? You wonder why our governments collect so much of it. These entities that were basically like immortal, right? And we're not deteriorating, we're not dying, okay? So to speak. Something happened. All of a sudden, the humans that they created en masse give off a bioenergetic frequency. And this was an unforeseen thing, because what happened all of a sudden is they started to fall apart. They started to die. They started to deteriorate. And they flipped out. And they said, what is going on? And they discovered, and they realized that their creation gives off a parasitic frequency to them that they cannot be around because of what it does to the atmosphere. It causes them to start to die. And they had to bail. And before they did, they made sure they engineered an offspring, a mixed-in race, a blue bloodline. And this atmosphere mixed with the human race to ensure they held down the hierarchy until they returned. Here's the thing. As long as there's 8 billion of us here still emanating a toxic frequency to them, they cannot return. You need to wipe out a bunch of humans before these things can even enter the atmosphere. By default, and this is the story. Now do you see why it makes sense, why it's important to know your history and to know these stories across all these different languages and backgrounds? Because they show you clearly something huge has happened. They call these characters by different names, but all these major events are always echoed through all the stories, like the flood event and all this. So it doesn't matter. This is showing you here in this story, in the Sumerian god king timeline, they lived 26,000 years, 30-some thousand years, the kings did in the king timeline. That seems crazy, right? But these were the big giants. These are the big ones. These were the ones that you see in front of the pyramids that are sitting there, that if they stood up, they'd be like the size of cedars, just like it says in your Bible. And the ones that are 4 meters that they mention in your Bible, that's around your 12 to 15 footers. There's different breeds. They tell you it. It's all right. They tell you it. Even when they went and they scouted out Canaan, they say when they came back, they said that they looked and they see them and they were grasshoppers in their eyes. Okay? Because those in Canaan, in Israel, in that was like the land of the giants. That's what Israel is right now and always has been. The foothills of Mount Hermon, all that region, Mount Megiddo, where Armageddon's gonna, all that. That's where Og and all them roamed. That's where all the bloodlines came from. It's all there. Okay, so the giants are real. You know this. And the last ones, like, David took out Goliath. You've seen that was the end of the bloodline there. He wasn't even a big dog. He was just like, he was a runoff of the end of the bloodline. All the guys that come before him were way bigger. This is fact. It's written. And all the other stories back it up and show it. Book of Jubilees, Book of Giants. This was their realm. You know? And you can't tell the story without them. Okay? This means they're everywhere to go be found, dude. They're everywhere. You can find them anywhere. Any ancient coastline, any place 10, 15 feet deep, 20 feet deep, digging. The Nephilim, the giants, they're out there. You wonder why some of these freaking mountains literally look like a giant laid down? I believe. And I believe there's things that I'm not going to give away. I can't give away. But you're going to see here in the future proof and evidence of all these things. You watch. You watch. And once it's done, it's done. The whole world deserves to know. Imagine someone could unlock all these things and like drop the bombshell and show the world, tell everybody before it's all said and done, huh? What would be funner than that? So, we live in wild times. I thought that you should know that the ancient stories tell of how those creators, that creation story mentions a parasitic energy, a frequency that's given off to them in their eyes by humans that they did not foresee. And it's not bad if you're around just one or two humans. It's when there's large amounts, the large scale frequency for their essence. Okay. Now, Jinn and the Nephilim and those spirits, they feed different. They feed off of your energy directly, your negative emotion and all that. Those are different entities completely. Okay. You're talking Anunnaki, you're talking physical, living, high scale entities that like with shine of gold, you know, and literally then incorporate gold into their whole system. Again, you wonder who the governments are. Why are they hoarding that one element? They could be taking diamonds, silver, a combination of all of it. Why is it just that? I find it very funny that you've got this creation story and these dudes are geeked, hell-bent on gold. And it's the one thing that the people that sold us out are stuffing their with. You stop and think about that for a minute. Yeah. What if it's all going to the sacrificial offering to their overlords? Because that's what it has to be. Because that's what we were all meant here to do. You wonder if anything's in Fort Knox. They could show you whatever. We're in AI days, you know. They could show you whatever at this point. I watched a dude the other day use. He was just whoever you could think of. He could look like. In an instant, he could put these things on his face and run AI, and he could look like absolutely anyone that you could think of. And it looked 1000% real. And if he can sit there and do it, and these guys are doing it, these guys are faking it. They're sitting in their houses over in India. We've already caught them, and they're acting like teenage girls in America on OnlyFans and duping these old pervs out of a ton of money and getting rich. Because of AI and because they can do it. Technology's scandalous, and you got to watch it. But all right, so shut this one down. Give some final thoughts on this. Bring it full circle here on this one tonight. Check the chat. It's definitely the fallen ones. It's definitely the fallen. And they could easily be here inside the planet still and on the ocean floor, which I highly suspect. No, I suspect they're all over. But when you tie in everything with the Sumerian legend, I just thought that it was worth mentioning here with everything else, knowing that our government's done went in and snatched up the body of freaking Gilgamesh, and they've got one of these cats. They're already there. They've had plenty of time to take it back to the lab and reproduce and everything. They have walking giants, I'm telling you. How many years has it been since the Iraq War and they were in there? They've had plenty of time to extract DNA out of something right then and try to reproduce it in a lab then. They think it'd be like 20-some years old. Reproduced. Walking giant. You crap your pants, you seen one. Just no different than if you've seen an alien, I'd suspect. If you've seen a 15-footer, I'd say it'd take your breath away. Nothing to ignore. I don't think they're going to be spawning them out any bigger than that, to be honest, but I think that's the range you could expect to see. We got a bit of a different atmosphere. I mean, straight up, it's all about atmosphere, right? Than we did back in the day, thousands of years ago. Things grew larger, bigger trees, bigger all that. Things thinned out. We got thinned out. All the way, cats were living hundreds of years up to the flood, right? Somebody manipulated us. Now we can only live to 120 if you're lucky. Somebody put a cap on it. What happened? You know what that means? Something incredible that no one ever thinks of. It's the truth. Every single person, including Noah, his family, that lived before the flood, is not like us. Do you understand me? They are a completely different breed of human. How come they don't want to talk about getting one of their bodies, getting it on the table here to examine it? Look at the genealogy of it, just one. They don't even want to talk about it or even bring it up. Why? Let's do it. There has to be one out there. Somewhere. Someone that lived pre-flood. There has to be a body. They don't want to talk about it because they already found one and they're keeping it hidden and secret. It's because they would have been giants in their own right. They would have had a whole different... They had to have been made different. They lived hundreds of years. Someone stopped that from happening. They redesigned us during the flood. This is the written record. So this... Facts, Jack. You go dig up anyone that lived before the flood. They are not like us. Do you hear me? I'm not saying they're an alien, but I'm telling you they're not the same version of us. And that is a fact, Jack. And don't forget it. These are the facts, man. Get to know them. Our history's wild. The more you uncover and throw out there, boy, it's worth it. I want to unravel it all. I don't think there's anything more exciting than discovering that from here, the true history. That's why the books of giants are so awesome and amazing and fills in the gaps and tells you, the rest of the story, like when the flood hit. Yeah, they wiped this place out, but also a pack of angels went and they made sure there were designated places, because God said so, to save certain giants. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you? Certain giants were saved. In the book of Giants tells the whole thing, man. And they don't want you to know all this. But when you put it all together, again, the pieces are all there. There were giants taken to mountaintops and the highest peaks, and they were taken there. And the giants themselves stood so high. They gave the heights of them, and they gave the height of the flood water, which would have meant the flood water would have come up to like maybe the shoulders or something. The whole point was that these giants were put in these places on the highest peaks of the planet to survive, and they did. That's why it said they were still here after the flood. Okay? And it was by design. And God sent Michael, Uriel, the archangels, to go and to do this. He put them to work. These dudes are the badasses. Uriel and Raphael and these guys, you're missing it. Everyone that falls away and doesn't stay for like the good, the end pieces, it's the best piece. It's the most important piece. There are entities here and always have been. And if you fail to realize that and how this whole place works, you're missing it all. If you're missing spiritual entities in higher realms, we only see 1% of this place with our freaking eyes. 1%. 99% of this freaking world that you live in and navigate through. Can you imagine what is operating in the other 99% that you can't freaking see? The real world is what you call it. Wrap your head around that one for a second. Okay? I'm going to tell you that this real world is controlled by the jinn. It's by design. It's written that way. The jinn, demons, archons. Okay? And they're here to hold you down. This whole thing is about getting out of here. I'll leave you with this. I was talking to Tacos about some stuff and just about all this and the importance of a lot of these passages in these books, these scriptures, the hidden scriptures that are so explosive and powerful. That's why they kept them out. But once you have them, man, it's game changing. You live your whole life wondering what happens in life and death. Yet, if you just have Jubilees and you just have the book of Enoch, that's answered. Done. Done. You finally understand what happens to the soul when you die. You don't have to wonder. It's told. It's told. All of it's told. The chambers, there's nothing like it. And I'll recap. I'm going to end tonight because I feel that this is how I need to end, even if you've heard it before, but I think this is important. If you haven't, you need to soak this up. All right, there's a couple options here, man. Got a couple options. You can believe in whatever you want. Don't spew negativity, though, okay? Just be positive and wish positive things on people. Enlightenment, knowledge, discernment, okay? Enoch does a very fabulous job of describing a lot of things that they keep hidden from us. And he did it for a reason, because God chose him as a scribe to document these things. And he sent Uriel to take him. Uriel is just something else, man. That cat, what he's responsible for and what he does, with history and everything else is just, it's wild. It's crazy. Uriel takes Enoch into the chambers where the souls go. And I'm just going to lay it out there real quick. Chamber to chamber, and just how it is. The first chamber is a chamber of souls that are resting. It's quiet. There's no stress. There's no worry about the toils of the physical world or anything. It's this pure, what you always you tell someone, rest in peace. It's pure peace. They are resting in peace, truly, in this chamber, is how Enoch describes it. And they earn that through the way that they live their life. Do you hear me? This is why I keep telling you, you better do good things in life. And people are like, oh, I'm just going to believe in Jesus. That's all I have to do. I don't have to do nothing else. And I'm like, look, dude, you can do whatever you want. You're free to believe and do whatever you want. But how I see it is, yeah, I believe in Jesus, and I actually believe in doing what he said instead of cop-out crap, and doing what he said out of his own passages, his own words, like going on to do greater things than he. and all these other things instead of sitting there doing nothing. Okay? Because I believe that doing nothing is going to have you fall short. Because anyone and everyone can do something. That's why there's no excuse. You can hold a door for someone. You can do a good deed for someone. You cannot just lend someone money and expect charge interest. As Jesus said, you just give them the money. If you have it like that, give it for the good deed. And you're giving, you're putting forth to the good fight, right? Enoch says every single soul is put in a chamber basically by what you did in your life. So I'm going to run through the chambers here real quick. First one, everyone's resting in peace, chilling, out, cool, no stress. Most High's giving them the garments, just as it's written. They're chilling. They're waiting for the judgment. Okay, so everyone's waiting for the judgment period. Okay, that's the whole thing's about. There's no bypassing that. Okay, but Enoch says even though every soul's waiting for final judgment, the souls are placed in these cavities predetermined on how you lived your life. Second chamber. This is a chamber. The Enoch is startled when he sees Cain sitting there, calling God. He couldn't believe it. First person on record murdered. But that's what this chamber is. This chamber is a chamber for those that have questions, have complaints, that are calling up to God. This is the chamber for those that have been murdered. That means that means you're gonna see Gaddafi in there. You're gonna see the Most High. I mean, they killed him, they murdered him, right? I mean, he transcends that. But you would see technically every single disciple, every prophet, because they were all murdered. In here, Tupac, Biggie, John Lennon, JFK, they would all be in here. Every single one that they ritually, that they sacrifice period, that they killed, murdered. That's what this is for. Now, I have all kinds of questions, but I would say, look, do I have a choice? Like, can I just accept the fact that they murdered me and just go on to the first chamber if I earned that? Because I just want to go rest in peace and wait till judgment. That's what I'm hoping to earn out of all this. Okay? So that's the second place. People are complaining. It's loud. That's the chamber that raised up to the heavens all the complaints in the first place. Do you understand how real this is? How it ties into all the other scripture? This is where they heard the complaints of the people that didn't want to come back or didn't want to live on this planet. Because of the giants and the Nephilim. It's why they flooded it. The complaints came from here. Do you see? See how real it is? How full circle this is? Okay, so those are the first two. Enter the third. The third chamber sits across a massive void. And from this third chamber, you can see the first chamber. You can see that other souls are sitting in a better place. But no one can traverse the expanse, the void. They are stuck there, and in this place, it's silence, he says. He says it's silence, but they're awake. They're all awake, no rest. And they're all standing there. And it's silence. And these are all the same, all the people that sat there and did nothing in this life. Think about that. He says this, describes this. They can sit there, they're all conscious, aware. They can look and see the other chambers. The others have made it to resting in peace, yet they can find no peace in this chamber. They're not tormented, but they are awake. They're conscious. They are aware, as he states, of all their mistakes. And it's basically like an oh shit, is how I take it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be there. I don't want to go there to wait the final judgment. I don't want to be there. I don't know about you. I'd do something. I'd fight this fight, dude. I put some substance behind your soul in the Most High's eyes. Earn your keep, earn a spot in one of these places, I'm telling you. Only place to aim for is top, is the first chamber, right? You end up in the second, that's because you got clipped, got murdered, or got a major complaint, right? This is what is written, okay? Understand? This is how Enoch explains it. So let me take you to the fourth chamber, final chamber here. And this will be where all the bad guys, all the bad souls, all the devils, demons, where all them will go. It's where they're held. So you know, I mean, he is thoroughly describing to you that you have a chance to very easily have your soul go to a spot that is not with these demons. Okay? That all these chambers, it reminds me like Ghostbusters. Like you snatch the soul up and you lock it away in the secret chamber in the wall. I mean, it's kind of how they're describing it, right? And it's these are carved out of the stone somewhere in this planet, in this construction. This is where Uriel takes and places the soul. He has the job. He is the angel that does it. Every time someone dies and it goes to get placed anywhere, Uriel is the one responsible for filtering and placing all souls in all chambers. Quite a job. He's done a lot. He does a lot in all the scripture here in revealing all this. But when you get to hell, when you get to this, let's call it the dungeon. It's like doom, right? This has layers in it. This area is described by Enoch in detail, that like it doesn't function like normal reality, that lava's flowing like uphill, pooling in the middle of the sky for no reason, and like it's distorted. It has distortion in it massively. This is how Enoch describes the hellish pits. He explains where he comes up on a void. They're descending deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkness, into as deep as you can go. And they come into a chamber where it's the Watchers. And they're chained up. And he explains that they're not just chained up, that these chains feed emotion to them. He explains that they have to sit here in this state, in these chains, not only locked where they can't go anywhere, but where they are feeling, absorbing all of what happened, repercussions, as he put it, from what they did to this world. Because they were not supposed to do certain things, teach man certain things, and corrupt mankind. And, everything that they did, bore the Nephilim and all this. So that's what he describes here. And that's very interesting because they're being tormented with the karmatic repercussions constantly attached to this world. He goes on to say that the spirit world and the physical world have deep connection through and through, constantly, in real time. He even goes up to one of them and he says, "What's your name?" And it didn't speak, but it talked to him telepathically and said it was Azazel. And he was shocked again that it was a legendary being, entity that he heard of in other scripture. He was shocked. And it's crazy on this journey that he comes across these characters and all this stuff, all biblical, and it's all there. And Uriel is his guide. So Uriel is made of the light. He has a God's high-ranking chief archangel. All right. He says, "Let's go further." And they're like, "What?" He's like, "What? There's further?" He comes into a lower chamber and he sees what looks like a well, the top of a shaft. In this chamber is entities that are suspended that he doesn't even know how to describe, really. They're like suspended in this weird state. And Uriel says that these are the entities that existed before time itself. And all that. So these were like super old entities, older than the Watchers and all that were in this suspended state. And in the middle, there is a shaft, and they walk up to it. And he looks down, and he sees one sitting on a throne, chained in the bottom, like crazy. One. It's Enoch describing this. And Uriel touches him on the shoulder and he's like, "Let's go, we're going down." And he's like, "There's no way." He describes them going down the shaft in like it being so deep within the earth, the shaft of the abyss, heading toward this entity that even God's light that was coming off of Uriel was flickering. This is a wild detail, man. And they get down and they see they're standing right in front of this thing that's chained there in the abyss. And he describes it and how emotionless it is. And in all these other details, it is wild. But let me tell you, Enoch describes all of this on this journey with Uriel on where a soul can go from here. The whole design, the whole structure. It rebuffs many other stories and ties all in. And you wonder why they stripped it. But thankfully, the Ethiopians and others kept it in their canon. Constantine took it out. The Council of Nicaea, they weren't good people. I don't care what you were brainwashed with. This was all deception and about power and control. They took this knowledge from you. They took away the way this whole cycle works. You see, in the end, this is where a lot of people miss. And they have a hard time understanding. I am a piece of the Godhead. I am. So are you. I am representing home, the home team, the good guys in the flesh. I'm animating this flesh. In this vehicle. But I am not this vehicle. I am a conscious energy that comes from a higher source, the Godhead, that can traverse many things with my knowledge and my wisdom. And I can be told that I'm nothing by man and that I have no power while they flex it. But when you discover your power and you remember what you are, it's unlike anything else when you unlock yourself. When you understand what this is, the power that you hold, and speaking anything into existence and believing in it, not begging. When you set out begging, you're setting out a frequency of separation. You're failing to understand how this place works. And I'm trying to show you. You don't beg. You don't put separation between anything. You are of, and you create. And you speak anything you want into existence. You believe in it, you collapse it down around you, and you do. It's your power. You can do it. Just as God showed you. He said, let there be light. Let there be all these good things. You should say the same. You should do the same. You should never speak negative. Not even joking. You should never speak negative in any form. It's a power. It's your sword that you wield. And you're like cutting yourself. If you're even joking, you're spiritually cutting yourself, slicing yourself up. Now, remember this. We're from the same place Jesus told you, from the Father, from the Godhead, okay? From the eternal source of energy. It's what we're all part of, right? That's where I'm going back to. But someone else, someone has made everything of this physical realm. Physical, okay? And is in control of all of it. Jesus told you and showed you. He told you. And he shunned the one that is in control of this entire physical realm. Jesus shunned. The one in control of this entire physical realm offered Jesus all the kingdoms of the earth. And Jesus rejected them. The one that controls all the kingdoms of this earth, Jesus rejected. Don't you forget that. Okay? Because one is an imposter, so to speak, in the form of what people believe. He warned you. He told you Satan runs this whole realm, this whole lower physical vibration. But what did he also tell you? I'm going to tell you what God told me. That again, and this is important. I told you the vision God gave me. He took me down and showed me this thing. And he said to you, respect my creation. And I'm not talking like God with a beard on a cloud. I'm talking what I consider the Godhead, the spirit, energy source. Didn't have a form, didn't have a figure. It just takes me to these places in spirit. And that is home. That is the Godhead. That is the energy source to me. You understand? And it took me in front of this being, this creature, and asked me if I respected his creation. And I flipped out and I said, I'm not worshiping it. And I got scolded because it said, I didn't ask you that, which was true. And I finally seen what it was trying to tell me, that it is created for a reason, to test the souls. And when I saw it, I understood. And when it seemed that I understood, it all faded away. He had to literally instill that in me because I was so set tripping that I ain't going around. I see these demons. I see this dude that looks like a dinosaur in front of me sitting on his throne. Like I ain't worshiping. I don't care what. That was my attitude. But like he had to like smack some sense into me. Literally, that's how I felt, and like sculpt me, make me feel it. That's not what I. This is the point here. Like I made this entity that has great power that you perceive to be his bad guy for a reason. And don't you forget it. And don't you confuse it. Don't you confuse the church with the kingdom. Okay, so. Yeah, I wish you well. Wish you all well. Everyone that hangs in for that, man. Some of you, I see, you have knowledge, you have wisdom, you know it, you see where this is at. Everyone's got their opinions and everyone's got their choices. I'm just gonna tell you, I try to tell you what I've found in all my studies and all this time, this road. Trying to figure a way out of here and following Jesus all the way, and then looking at all the ancient writings and stacking it together, overlaying everything and trying to find the truth that they want to hide. Well, I think we do a pretty good job and we see where it's all going. We're in a crazy time. Don't forget, deception, disclosure here. Oh yeah. That movie's going to be getting dropped anytime. Disclosure. It's going to be a big thing. Like, I don't watch movies, but the Spielberg Disclosure movie is one we got to watch. And we got to watch for all the hidden stuff in it. I'm talking like anything and everything. I got a funny feeling it's just going to be tied into the bigger picture. How could it not be? Thank you for all the love tonight, guys. All the support. Where we at? Been a long one again, coming up on top of the hour. All right, man. I do appreciate it. Jesus said, seek the kingdom of God within you. Stop tonight and take no thought for your life. What do you think he was hinting at? All these people say all these things. Well, I believe in Jesus, but I'm not. But you what? You just believe in Jesus and you drop it there? Type of person to sin all week and fake it on Sunday like you're some Christian? I believe in Jesus, but I ain't going to do what he said. You better start doing what he said. Because you'll tell them other friends. All right. So, anyway. You don't want to do what he said. That's on you. You do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I've discovered to be the right way. Fight the good fight. God bless you all. I thank you. And if the Lord doesn't return in the coming days, I'll see you here Friday for some Underground World News Live. Much love. God bless. Be the change that you seek. Much love, E-Fits, Lotus, Tiffany, MP, Joe, Susie Q, all the mods. Thank you, Academy. Much love, Steve, Pixie, ADU, everybody. Much love, God bless. Stay righteous.